Mr Speaker.
Order. Mika Whaitari.
Mr Speaker, tēnā koea. I ngā member o te wharenei, kei te mihi. Ko tā kuta apirana mahuika, ko tama tūranga huata. E oku rangatira, kua wehe atu I te pō. He taniwha, he tipua, he tangata. Haere, haere, haere atura. Mr Speaker, I'm pleased to take a call to debate the important Prime Minister's statement for 2015. However, before I do that, may I wish you and all members of the House warm salutations and trust you've all had a very restful summer break, because boy, are we going to need it this year. Mr Speaker, in our Māori culture, it is proper to acknowledge the recent passing of a great rangatira, and in my beloved Ikaro Rāwhiti, we have had our fair share. Dr. Apirana Mahuika, scholar, teacher, leader, husband, father, koro, uncle to many, unequivocally passionate about and without deviation for the advancement of our Ngāti Porou people. During his tangi, Mr Speaker, he was acknowledged as the ultimate politician, playing and beating many in this House at our own game. I acknowledge his contribution to our people and to our nation. E te rangatira moi mai. Tama tūranga huata, arts and cultural visionary leader throughout Aotearoa, throughout the Pacific. With the support of his whānau, he established te whare wānanga o te whare tāpire o Takitimu, one of the first performing arts tertiary institutions in this country. His Kahurangi Dance Company performs regularly in New Zealand, even here in Parliament, Mr Speaker, North America and Canada. Employment and opportunities through culture. Tama established the National Māori Waiata Awards and was the first chairman of Te Matatini, New Zealand's premier kapahaka movement. Tama was before his time, committed to his culture, committed to his Anglican faith, committed to the descendants of the Wakatipua Tākitimu, e te rangatira moi mai. Mr Speaker, it seems anticlimactic to go from espousing the virtues of these great rangatira to now turn to the Prime Minister's statement. It's like moving from a state of admiration and respect to a state of despair. Mr Speaker, the country deserves better. The constituents I represent of Ikaro Rāwhiti deserve better. And in the early contribution today by the Minister Anne Tolley, in reference to the Prime Minister's speech of the economy being in good shape and getting better, Mr Speaker, I rise to bring to this House the reality that I confront as the member for Ikaro Rāwhiti. It is not my view on what is happening, but it's through the lenses of the many constituents that unfortunately get turned away from some of my colleagues on that side of the House when they have issues of urgency, particularly around housing. Mr Speaker, the constituents of Ikaro Rāwhiti are over the spin government. A government with no substance, a government with no policy, no plan, and a government that simply does not care. Mr Speaker, when we came together after the 2014 election, I had great hope with the new class of members from the government side when many rose to their feet and espoused the virtues of decency, of fairness, of equity. I'm talking particularly about Nook Korako, Shane Reriti, Mr Bishop himself. And I had great faith that things were going to change on that side of the House. But alas, Mr Speaker, it was not to be. Mr Speaker, when I travel throughout my electorate, which is 730 kilometres in distance from Pōtaka in the north to Wainui Mata in the south, the issues that continuously come up with the people I meet as I travel are jobs, Mr Speaker, and warm and decent homes. No, it's not my view. It's not my view. It's the people that I have to deal with as a Member of Parliament. And I've come to this House to put down what their struggles are. Not mine, not yours, but theirs. And too much in this House is a big gap between talking about doing something and actually doing, and the results speak for themselves, Mr. Speaker. Let's turn to housing throughout Ikaroa Rāwhiti. The waiting list, Mr. Speaker, in December 2014 in Gisborne was 46. In Hastings, there's 61. In Napier, there are 93 people waiting for homes. And in Wairoa, a small community, there are 10 people. But let's look at the vacant houses in those same areas. Mr. Speaker, in October 2014, we have 87 vacant homes in Gisborne. We have 71 vacant homes in Hastings. And we have 130 vacant homes in Napier. Mr. Speaker, you do not need to be a rocket scientist to say why have we got these vacant homes but still people on the waiting list. It's because this government doesn't care. It's because this government is not actively providing safe, affordable, dry homes for the people throughout Ikaroa Rāwhiti who need it. Mr. Speaker, I also want to come to the House to raise an issue that has come up in my engagement with constituents, and that is the level of, or the lack of maintenance that are going on in the state houses. Now, I deal with both the managers in Hastings and Gisborne, and they are great people because we all need public servants in our regions, but their hands are tied, Mr. Speaker. When you have to go into nannies' homes who keep immaculate houses and the lawns, but the paint is peeling. There's mildew in the bathrooms. There are holes in the kitchen because the bathroom is leaking. And these people are just grateful to have a home. No one deserves to live like that, Mr. Speaker. Nobody. And when the concerns are raised again with the managers of Housing New Zealand, they cannot do anything, Mr. Speaker. Why? Because they have no budget. Now, is this the government that we are proud of? Is that a good shape, getting better government, which is what we heard the Prime Minister, when people are having to are forced to live in that level of housing? Mr. Speaker, it is not. And that is why I raised to bring that issue to this House. Mr. Speaker, employment. And we've heard that this government, the Labour Party, is prioritising jobs. We're prioritising jobs, Mr. Speaker, and we are not just going to talk about it, but we're going to do something about it. Mr. Speaker, again, I reference the earlier contribution by Minister Anne Tolley around unemployment. Let's just have a look throughout our electorate, Minister Tolley. In Gisborne and Hawke's Bay in December 2014, we have an unemployment rate of 7.8%. In December 2008, that percentage was 6.4%. Mr. Speaker, in Gisborne and Hawke's Bay, we are not in good shape. We are not getting better. The stats are undeniably going the wrong way. And when we have this government talking about the glory and the benefits that are going out, I, for one, can definitely stand, Mr. Speaker, and say the impact throughout the people in Ikaroa Rāwhiti are not being felt. And Mr. Speaker, when the Minister Tolley is up in Gisborne, I invite her to come to Elgin and to be part of the community who come in every day when I'm visiting to talk about the lack of jobs, the poor houses. In fact, we've got a house right next door to my electoral office that burnt down and is still standing. Mr. Speaker, this government is completely out of touch for the ordinary New Zealander. And I want to hold, like I say, on this side of the House, them accountable for their non-performance and non-delivery of the bare basics of a warm, affordable home, sustainable employment with a decent wage. Mr. Speaker, this is why we are standing to hold this government account. That Prime Minister's statement is just not hitting the mark. It is full of holes, and over this year I look forward to even exposing them more. Kia ora tātou.
I understand this is a split national call. Dr. Shane Reti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ngā mihi ki a koe.